Hi, and welcome to Enriched Perspective with Mike and Talisha Wallace, where we seek to shift paradigms through the exploration of biblical principles. I'm Mike.
And I'm Talisha. Welcome to the podcast. So the other day, well, it's been a while, we went on a walk. We were having a really good conversation, and we started talking about this topic that we want to share with everyone today. I just think it's beneficial for everyone to know. So we were talking about kids and growing up and getting everybody ready to get into the real world. And we started kind of sharing our thoughts on what that's like. So that brought us to our topic that we're going to share today, which is preparation. And we just want to share with everyone, and hopefully it's beneficial to those that are listening. So, of course, we're going to start with definitions. I'm going to start with what is preparation? Preparation is the action or process of making ready or being made ready for use or consideration. And then prepare is part of preparation. So that definition is to make something ready for use or consideration, or to make someone ready or able to deal with something. To make ready beforehand for some purpose, use, or activity. So I think that's really good, especially when we were talking about raising kids and getting them ready for the world. But we can still apply preparation throughout our entire lives. One of my quotes that I found that I really like and I want to share is by Benjamin Franklin. And he says, by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. And then I think he also said the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. So that really got me, and I'm going to take that and add it to my life. So what are your thoughts on preparation and how we could make things better for our lives by being prepared? Michael.
So being prepared is a very thick topic, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely something that we all should take into consideration as we go through our life in general. Like you said, this topic came up just as a part of conversation, dealing with the changes that we're going through in our lives with our children now being older, not being children anymore. They're young adults, and they're starting to enter into the throes of adulthood, if you will. And then for us as well, just going through the changes that are necessary as you go from being really heavily relied upon and dependent upon for everything to now switching to, being somewhat like empty nesters and trying to position your children for success outside of the home, but also positioning yourselves for success for whatever the next phase of life may bring to you.
Yeah.
And it is a very challenging thing because when you talk about preparation and in general, it's something that we always assume that we're doing, but there is not a lot of intentionality on our part around this particular subject, if you will. We just kind of live from day to day. We just assume the things that we are doing throughout the course of the day, whether they be new, different, any changes, we just assume that's enough for us to prepare for whatever the next may be.
Yeah.
But when you start digging into this topic around preparation, I think the biggest challenge is first and foremost, you have to have a why.
Yeah.
And I don't believe most of us take the time to understand our why. We may have a why, but we don't necessarily stop and think about it and really take the time to fully understand and grasp the why behind what we're doing from day to day.
So would you say a why is kind of like a goal or something to aim for?
Yes.
Okay.
What keeps us from being prepared or preparing, if you will, is because we don't have that.
Yeah.
So we tend to just live our lives, just continue to do what we've always done, and sometimes we expect different results. But there was a quote that said that is absolutely insanity.
Right. Yeah.
When you do the same things you've always done and expect something different to occur. Yeah. It's just like a person saying they want to lose weight, but they keep eating the same things that they've always eaten. They don't change any of their exercising habits. They don't change any of their resting habits. They don't educate themselves at all, in how to get better. And then they wake up and wonder, like, why am I still fat?
Right. Well, it says by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So it's like, it's easy to say, and, especially with it being New Year's coming up, like, a couple days from now? Everybody's going to have these New Year's resolutions. And I'm going to lose this, I'm going to do that. And then I was looking, just a really quick light research to see how often people really follow through with those resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
I think I found it's like 43% of those people that make those resolutions fail before February. And then another one was like 64% after the first month. I guess that's, the same, about the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
January, February. Yeah. So they make these grandstand things, but there's no preparation. There's no research. There's no plan of action. No, I just throw something out there and just hope it works.
Yeah, because a lot of times, specifically in weight loss, it's just like everything else in our lives,
Yeah.
we assume we have enough knowledge or enough awareness
Mm-hmm.
of what needs to be done, and we just run, towards
Yeah.
the objective or the goal. And part of preparing and planning is, of course, educating yourself. Like
Yeah.
once you know why you're doing something, or the goal that you have in mind, you definitely have to start preparing from a place of educating yourself, getting knowledge, and starts to create that plan
Mm-hmm.
of how you're going to attack this thing.
Right.
But again, a lot of times we don't even get that far. We just make this outlandish goal, and then we start running towards it, and then we get mad or we get frustrated or we
Yeah.
get discouraged because we're not able to accomplish it. But we didn't do any type of real preparation
Yeah.
to be successful
Yeah.
in that objective.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we were talking about when you talk about like when you're in your teens and 20s, how much time we waste.
Yeah.
Sometimes, of course, coming out of high school, it can feel like, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of school. I've done enough of that, and now I'm just ready to go live my life. And you really don't even know what that looks like or what you want
Right.
that to look like.
Yeah.
So you go and you find a job, and you start making more money than you've ever made before, even though
Mhm.
for the people that know what it really costs to live, like
Yeah.
you ain't really making nothing.
No, you haven't really paid the rent or
You ain't done nothing.
bills.
So it's good for you. I mean, it's pretty easy for you to be able to live your life, if you will,
Yeah.
how you want to at that level. But when you have people that are older, that have been through it, have kind of gone where you're trying to go, they're trying to help instruct you,
Yeah.
and they're trying to give you a warning, if you will, of what is to come. And that is with the intent for you to prepare yourself.
Right.
And that preparation can be it can be formal education.
Yeah.
It could be some type of trades. It could be taking on different types of jobs, but with intentionality,
Right.
to build up certain skill sets in yourself. It could be entrepreneurship, but whatever the case may be, the
Yeah.
intent of those people, the aged, is to help make you aware of what is to come so
Yeah.
that you can prepare yourself.
Right.
Like I always tell my kids, like, well, you don't necessarily make enough to live here
Yeah.
in the house that you live in right now.
Mhm.
And you might not even want that out of your life. That's something that you have to decide for yourself. Like, how do you want to live? Where do you want to live?
Mhm.
What standard of living is comfortable for you? But that's something you have to be thinking about in order for you to start now in your late
Yes.
teens and early 20s, preparing for that. That may occur in your 30s and your 40s.
Right. So that would put me in the mind of there's a separation. So once you know you want to do something,
Mm-hmm.
and someone gives you, like you say, a word of wisdom, or you should do this or you should do that, now it's on that person. So you're going to either listen or not listen. And the Bible calls you wise or foolish.
Absolutely.
So if you, again, don't plan to do something, you can plan to fail. So that's why preparation is so important,
Mm-hmm.
that we listen and do.
And that's why the Bible even talks about with the multitude of counselors make war.
Yeah.
A lot of times we do have a why or we have a what that
Mhm.
we're trying to achieve, but we don't take the time, again, to ask the right questions, talk to the right people, look at the right resources to help us understand what really needs to be done to accomplish this, and also to formulate a plan to be able to accomplish this. So we just kind of run half-cocked into the situation, and again, we're met with failure, and then we get discouraged, and then we just like forget it. It ain't for me, or I can't do this. Well, it's
Yeah.
not that you can't do it. It's just that you didn't prepare yourself
Right.
well enough to be able to accomplish it.
Right. So I also have a note that says preparation is important. In all the circumstances of our lives, God is giving us the opportunity to be trained through the conditioning of our experiences. He is preparing us for seasons we are not yet in. God brings us through seasons of conditioning to prepare us for other seasons in our life. So some things we do go through is preparation for what's next, but we have to actually listen and learn and apply to where we can actually have the success that God is meaning for us to have. So you gotta listen, you gotta apply, but some that don't listen, we can see that the success isn't there.
Yeah, and that's why we talk about it's taking a step backwards,
Mm-hmm.
parenting in general.
Yeah,
The goal, or at least our goal, was to make sure our kids were prepared.
yeah,
We can't necessarily predict everything that's going to occur in their
Mm-hmm.
adult life, as they go into adulthood and get out on their own.
yeah,
But we try to do our best to give them the tools that they needed in order to successfully navigate, what
Right.
was to come to the best of their ability. Of
Right.
course, we don't know everything, so there's always more that you're going to have to learn as
Yeah.
you go throughout your adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, different circumstances and situations are going to teach you different things that maybe we
Mm-hmm.
weren't able to teach you.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it is a responsibility of the parents
Mm-hmm.
to do their very best to make sure that their kids have enough tools to be
Yeah.
able to move forward. And this phrase everybody use, generational wealth.
Oh.
And they feel like, or they assume, and a lot of times that statement is indicative of trying to create a pot of money, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to pass down to your children so that they can have financial success.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I find is that financial success is fleeting.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the right character, if you don't have the right work ethic, if you don't even have the right view and understanding and kind of relationship with money, it's
Yeah.
like I can do everything I could to position you to be financially successful
Yeah.
from the standpoint of I can put all the money aside for your college and I
Yeah.
can have it completely funded. I can have it when you come out of college. You can stay in my house for however long and save up enough money to get a house, and you get a house, get your own house, and then you
Yeah.
be able to live your best life, if you will.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of nuance in between there that if you don't learn some of those basic character building lessons, then you're not going to be able to
Yeah.
last very long,
Yeah.
even if I handed everything to you.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
where, again, that preparation as
Mhm.
a parent
Yeah.
is so important to make sure you're putting those characteristics and attributes and
Mm-hmm.
that are necessary. As an example, kind of rambling here a little bit, but we talk about just work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of young people just don't have a good work ethic. They
No.
don't want to go to work and will not go to work.
No.
Or if they do go to work, they feel like everybody in the workplace owes them something. So they're not
Mhm.
coming with the intent to contribute.
Yeah.
They're just coming wholly and solely with the intent to take.
Yeah.
And when you have been through it, when you have gone through and you've had to work and you've been working for 30 something plus years or whatever,
Yeah.
you have a different perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can be an entrepreneur, but at the end of the day, you still got to know how to deal with people. You got to know how to work
Yeah.
with people. You got to have a work ethic.
Yeah. There's no way you're gonna be a successful entrepreneur and you don't have a work ethic.
And you can't get around it.
That's like the basics.
Exactly. So when you talk about the chores and
Yeah.
the different responsibilities that you place upon your child, making them accountable for different
Yes.
things, that's to build them up and prepare them
That's right.
for what is to come in their adulthood.
That's right.
We talk about, just responsibility,
Mhm.
like knowing that, hey, we do rely and depend on you for certain things,
That's
and
right.
there's an expectation that you deliver. That's
Yeah.
something that has to be built in the child, and that's, to me, is generational wealth.
Mhm.
Teaching a child work ethic,
Yeah.
teaching a child to be responsible, teaching a child to be accountable,
Yes.
teaching a child to have a character,
Yeah.
male or female,
Be respectable.
be respectable and be
Yeah.
respectful of
Yes.
people. Having godly principles as your
Mhm.
foundation, specifically as ye would that men should do unto you, do ye also unto them likewise. I know it's the
Mhm.
golden rule, but it is actually biblical as well.
Right.
But then having a heart of diligence,
Mhm.
like being diligent in all your matters. But that preparation starts at home.
That's right.
Learning how to control your anger, learning how to be temperate in all things. Don't overeat, don't overindulge in anything, but
That's
learning
right.
temperance in every area of your life
Yeah.
so that you can position yourself for success.
And that to me is the generational wealth I'd love to leave for those coming behind us. those principles that are timeless,
Absolutely.
and they're not going anywhere. That's
Nope.
where the success is. Not, I'm gonna hand you a bunch of money, but if you're not responsible, that's not gonna last very long.
Nope.
You know how fast money go.
Yep.
Come on now, you man. And they haven't been taught diligence. They haven't been taught um, temperance and not to be covetous. Just those basic, good old fashioned principles. Generational wealth will be like 2 seconds and gone.
You're right about that.
So
And that's where like so many people want to pass down things to their children.
yeah,
And talk about nepotism. Like I said, to me, nepotism in and of itself isn't bad. It's bad when the child isn't prepared.
yes,
Now, if you take the time, energy, and effort to develop that child that you have to be able to take on the responsibility or the role that you're giving them, if you will, that's not bad, because you're not really giving it to them.
yeah.
You're positioning
Preparing them.
to be able to take on this task.
Yeah.
Whereas if you let them do whatever they want to do, live by the seat of their pants, there's no development, there's no training, there's no mentoring, there's no coaching, and then you put them in this role, and then you tell everybody that they need to respect them, or that they're the one now in charge of. That's a fool's errand, and that's a recipe for disaster.
You just taught them entitlement.
Exactly, and that's something that you do not, as a parent, want to teach your child.
Yeah, you're teaching them something.
You always are teaching them something. That's where that preparation comes
Yeah.
in. Like, you can prepare them
Yeah.
for success and to be able to walk into and also build on or build upon generational wealth. Or you can teach them that entitlement attitude, that self-centeredness, that pride, and they could take everything that you spent all your life preparing for them, and they could throw it in the toilet in 5 years.
It won't take long.
It talks, I think it's in Ecclesiastes, it talks about a man that spends all of his life toiling and working hard to build up this wealth, if you will, and then he dies and leave it to someone that's not as diligent as he was, is not as learned, or don't have the understanding of how to handle it.
Don't appreciate
it, and it's gone in 5 seconds. But that's all part of preparation.
Yeah.
Like teaching a child how to appreciate what they have. Don't feel like the world owes you something, but understanding that, hey, nobody owes me anything.
Yeah.
I come into this world, thank God I'm here, thank God I'm alive, but at the end of the day, hey, I have to earn my keep. It's not given, it's earned.
And I think that helps you appreciate it more too, when just earned and not given.
Yep.
You ain't gonna be so quick to throw it away and just be haphazard with it. It's like, I earned this. It just brings a different mindset.
Yeah, it's a different appreciation and different respect for what you have accomplished and attained. And then like I said, you won't be so quick to just let it go.
So true. So true.
When you earn something, like I say, you ain't so quick to be wasteful with it, because you realize how much effort it took to get it. As an example, I'm gonna date myself a little bit.
Oh Lord.
Back in the day, I made like $4.25 an hour. So it took me a lot of hours to work to get $50 or to make a $60, $70 paycheck.
Yeah.
So while before I was like looking at my parents sideways because I wasn't getting the name brand clothes and shoes and things of that nature, what would I had to wear? All of a sudden I got a job, and I realized like it took me like 20 hours of my time to make enough money to, $80 or whatever. It's like, I'm not finna spend that $80 after taxes to go buy a shirt.
Right. They might get stained up or ripped up in 2 seconds.
Man, pair of shoes. It's like, so once I started realizing the value of $1 through me having to go and work and earn that dollar, my perception changed about, designer clothes. And my parents were never one to give us that stuff, so I didn't have that mindset where I had to have, the latest and the greatest.
Right.
Back in the day, it was British Nikes. It was
you
Nautica,
really dating yourself,
right? Naughty and Hilfiger.
What was the King Nike with the BK?
BK, that was British Nikes.
Oh yeah.
Hilfigers, Troops.
Yeah.
And the Nikes were kind of coming up at the time. Adidas.
Jordans
were out. Those were the ones that were like $100 shoes back
that
then.
Was
That
was a lot.
Whoa. So they were all starting to come out, and I couldn't push myself after I had worked for it.
That's right. Your money. It's different when it's your money.
Exactly. But what that prepared me for is my adulthood.
Yeah.
When I got to the place where now I have a family,
Mm-hmm.
I have to take care of, understanding from those experiences that responsibility, I have a different responsibilities, and some things don't matter more than others. It mattered more that my family had a roof over their head, and we had lights and we had gas, than me stepping out, with the latest and greatest clothes on, or faking the part, or looking like, say, faking it till you make it. That prepared me out of that,
right?
Because I had times where we couldn't afford that kind of stuff, and we couldn't buy, name brand stuff. And we had to be able to eat from Aldi's and be content, or eat from wherever the lower cost food, or eat the low, whatever, the off brand food or
generic.
Whatever.
Yes, we love generics. Well,
and
some
be content.
Generics. But
But if you're not prepared, the preparation isn't necessarily eating off brand all the time, but it's just having an understanding of what's important.
Yeah.
Where should you place your value and your worth? And that's preparation of the heart and mind of a child. And that comes up with you. Either you can prepare them for failure from the standpoint of they feel like they deserve and they got to have the finest of everything. And that's what leads to covetousness. That was lead to envy, jealousy. That's what drives greed.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what causes people to do felonious things in order for them to be able to maintain or obtain, certain statures or levels of accoutrements or comfort. Or you learn how to be content. You learn how to have a plan and have patience in that, and in that plan, and working it from day to day, week to week, month to month, because you know about preparation.
That's
you know what the value of preparation is, and you know also what it can bring if you stay diligent within your preparation.
That's so true. And also, like, being mentally prepared. Like you said before, you have a goal in mind. I have a note that says, when you're mentally prepared, it strengthens the belief that success is not only possible, but probable. So by visualizing your desired results, like, hey, I'm not going to be eating off brand forever. I'm going to be able to do this and that. When you have that it's visualizing your mind, it will eliminate distractions. So you won't be, getting off course, and it focuses your mind because you have mentally rehearsed a successful outcome. It reduces anxiety. So it's like being mentally prepared is just as strong as just going through the training and stuff. Like, I see one day, like, I'm going to be this, I'm going to do this, but I have something I'm working towards, and it takes away all those distractions, and your friends are out shopping and dropping hundreds of dollars, all they paycheck on a shirt or some shoes, and you're like, oh no, not me, y'all go ahead.
For real.
And it just kind of changes how you move, when you mentally have prepared for success, and you see, like, I could save this, or you just move differently. That preparation is powerful.
And that's the part, like, when you start thinking about it, most people think and assume that, like, say, the preparation in and of itself, that should be enough. But the reality is there is a time and a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you look at Ecclesiastes 9, verse 11, it talks about the race is not given to the swift, nor yet the battle to the strong, nor yet bread to the wise, nor riches to men of understanding, nor favor to men of skill. In all of these different cases, there are things that you would anticipate and that you would expect would come from people that were, if you will, prepared.
Right.
Person that's in a race, generally they have prepared themselves for that race, so they might be swift. Person that's in the battle, or the person that's used to battling, they're going to be strong. They're going to work on their strength and the conditioning and endurance and things of that nature to make sure that they're fit for the battle.
Right.
The wise, like I said, you would think that because of their wisdom, and they would be able to get bread. They would be able to sustain themselves, if you will. Riches to men of understanding. If you know how to take wisdom and apply it in different places, you would think that would bring about wealth. And then, of course, men of skill, favor. If you think you're really skilled, because it talks about, like, your gift will make room for you. It's talking about a physical gift, but also we use it metaphorically to talk about your giftings and your abilities will make room for you, and it'll cause you to stand before great men.
Right.
So in all these cases, there is preparation that's required, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee success.
Wow.
And then it talks about that because he says time and chance happen to them all. And where we can run into it is because, well, I don't know if it's going to happen for me. And we take it and we use it to demotivate ourselves. So because it's not guaranteed that I'm going to have success, I'm not going to win the race, I'm not going to win the battle, I might not have bread, I might not get riches, I might not have favor. So we'll take it and say, well, why bother?
Why bother? Yeah.
Why put in the work? Why put in the effort?
Yeah.
Why waste my energy in this
Mhm.
regard? Because it doesn't guarantee me anything.
That's a good point.
But the reality is,
Good question.
time and chance still happens.
Yeah.
You're more likely to be successful than you are not to be.
Okay.
And that's where most people don't look at it that way.
Yeah. That's I'm like, hey.
Because I found a
Yeah.
quote.
Okay. Tell me.
Because it says by Seneca, he said, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Huh.
And also Bobby Unser said success is where preparation and opportunity meet. And when we talk about time and chance,
Yeah.
time and chance is opportunity. It's just another way to say opportunity. But if you haven't been putting in the work, if you haven't been preparing, if you haven't been developing, then when the opportunity presents itself, you're not ready. And you will not be able to take advantage of it.
Oh.
And I believe that's why so many people like that party were swift. And they didn't win the race because they didn't prepare. They were strong, but they didn't win the battle because they didn't prepare. Like I said, they was wise, but because they didn't prepare, they didn't get the bread. They had men of understanding, but again, they didn't prepare themselves, so that they didn't get riches, they didn't get wealthy. And men, they were skilled, but they didn't prepare, so they didn't get the favor. And what I mean by not preparing is because a lot of times these things are inherently in us. So we have our natural giftings and abilities, and we assume that that's enough.
Oh, come through. Yeah, you're right. So you don't work on it. You don't hone it. You don't develop it. It's just, you just know you have it. And that you
think,
so you think everybody thinks the same way when there's somebody around the corner that's
working hard. They're just as gifted. They're just as skilled as you, but they're working. They're preparing themselves.
Wow.
As an example.
Wow.
I was very smart in high school. You are
very smart.
And I didn't do a lot of homework. Because I didn't need to in my mind because it came so easily. I could pass the test. I can get the grade. I can get the A's and B's without a lot of effort.
Oh, come through. Yeah.
And I bragged about this, which I shouldn't have, but I did. Like, I never read a whole book because I didn't have to. And I still was able to get the grade. Fast forward, I go to university or college, and there's a whole bunch of people like me.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
That were very smart, very intelligent, quick, had understanding, but they were prepared. They were doing homework. They were studying. They were taking extra classes and courses. They were doing things on their own, to build and develop their skills. Yeah. So when I got there, I was wholly unprepared for what I was about to walk into, and I struggled.
The cracks were showing,
The cracks showed, and it demonstrated that I was not prepared.
Wow.
I had some preparation, but I wasn't as fully prepared as I could have been had I learned my lessons, had I learned how to study before I got there. Yeah. So I'm trying to do all this stuff on the fly and figure it out.
Ooh.
And it was tough. It was a lot of humble pie eating. It was a lot of
ground to make up.
A whole lot of ground to make up. Feeling inadequate, but I wasn't inadequate. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well,
I wasn't inadequate.
Right.
I just wasn't prepared. I wasn't less than. I just wasn't prepared.
Wow, that's so powerful.
And a lot of times, it's not that we're inadequate. It's not that we're incapable.
Yes.
It's not that we couldn't do it. We just did not prepare.
Wow. So you feel like that's a cheat to yourself? You cheat yourself
absolutely
when you
a
don't,
cheat to yourself.
And others that could benefit from your giftings and abilities because we
don't prepare, because preparation requires something that again is challenging for us: diligence.
Because all the things you named off that scripture is training that is involved in all those things: being strong, being fast, swift, wide. It's just not, you don't wake up and be like that.
Because you can be swift, but you still got to learn how to run a race.
Yeah.
There's still an art and a science to running the race. You can be strong, but there's still an art and there's a strategy and there's skill required in order for you to fight in the battle. You can be wise, but you still have to learn how to apply that wisdom. You can be a person of understanding, but you have to know how to channel that understanding in order for you to gain riches.
Wow.
You can be a person of skill, but you still have to know how to use that skill in a way that brings about favor. So you still have to prepare.
Right.
And those people that were prepared when the opportunity presented itself, they were able to capitalize on it.
It's like they stay ready.
So you don't have to get ready.
Oh, man.
So that when the opportunity presents itself, you can take advantage of it.
You ready?
You ready?
You're not stressed out
you
and
ain't
anxious.
trying to figure it out on the fly, because it's much more painful. Trust me, to try to prepare while you're in it versus being prepared before you. That's why we have anxiety.
Yeah.
That's why we be all nervous and afraid. That's why we so worried about things, is because we did not prepare.
Man.
And now it's upon us. Now we got to deal with it. Now we're trying to figure it out again in real time.
Okay.
And it's much more difficult because now you got all of these other things that were always going to be there. But you got that and the fact that you got to figure out how to prepare yourself on top of it.
Okay, so with that being said, time and chance, does it says it happened to them all.
Yes.
So do we all have a time and chance?
I believe so.
So they just happen to be ready, so that's why they won the race. That's why they did this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so we all have a time and chance and opportunity, and if we're ready, we'll win.
Last one of us.
We'll have success when we're prepared for it. Okay.
And that's why it's so important to prepare, because fast forward, I learned my lesson. I went to school the second time for a graduate program.
Mm-hmm.
I promised myself that I would not do what I did the first time around.
Yeah.
I prepared.
See?
I read books. I read journals. I read case studies. I did a lot of work up front before I ever got to school. And then when I got to school, every assignment, I made it my mission to do what I didn't do before, because I learned my lesson. Like, preparation is key.
It matters.
I studied. I read the material. Found time. Like I say, studying became a part of what I do, as opposed to like, I'll get to it, whatever, or I'll wait till the day before, then I'll just try to cram it all in. Try to write a cheat sheet.
That doesn't work, right?
Try to hold a whole dictionary on a cheat sheet of 3x5 card and hope I get it all on there so I can remember.
Right. That didn't work. Or did it work? Did it work?
It didn't work out too well. I had a class one time. I'm sitting there, and I'm saving all, so I'm gonna be religious. I'm
okay,
like,
don't do that.
Yeah, he's like, you should have studied.
That's like, right. Like, did you prepare, son?
Basically, that's what I heard. I was like, no.
About to fail this test.
Almost. I actually got a good grade at the test, but
don't do that.
But that was
don't share that part.
But that was an actual lesson for me, a lesson learned. Because I felt like I was losing it in that class in that moment.
Okay.
Because I hadn't prepared properly. So I'm coming in there, I'm afraid, I'm nervous. Like you say, you get scared, you get anxious. Mm-hmm. Like I said, your mind start running 50 million miles a minute because you're not prepared. And now you're trying to figure out how I'm going to get through this with a better outcome hopefully than what I expect.
Right.
Whereas if you prepared, like I said, when I fast forward again, I'm in that other situation in my later program, went to a class, they had open book, open notes. I barely even used it because I was so prepared.
Yeah.
I actually got 110% on the final exam or whatever.
Amazing.
I just knew them, and I finished like a half hour early. Because I was prepared.
See?
Because I had done the work throughout the semester, learning the material, studying the different things that was given to me, asking questions, leveraging my professor to understand the things I didn't understand. By the time I got there, I was well prepared to take the test.
Amazing.
And a lot of times, going back to children, we just don't do the best of jobs of making sure our children are well prepared for this thing called life.
Yeah.
Because we focus them in areas that are not value add, not beneficial, not really going to help you be able to actually be successful in life.
Yeah.
It might help you have some minor success. It may help you have an appearance of success, but having true success where you can build a foundation that your next generation and your next generation can stand on, that takes preparation.
Yeah.
Like I say, if you want to, only way I stand on the shoulders of them before me is their shoulders are strong enough to hold me.
Yeah, and I think too, we gotta not be so concerned with they got an attitude, they mad.
So
I don't care. Be mad. Clean up the room, and it better do this, do your chores, be accountable, show up. Yeah. Have an attitude. Do it while you have an attitude, but it's gonna build something in you. After a while, you can be like, I'm glad they gave me that work ethic, because I got coworkers that don't show up because it's raining or they don't feel like it, and they mom and daddy they gonna take care of them, but nope, I know I need to go to work. I know where money come from. It's not from me having my hand out, mom and daddy just slapping money in it.
And it's attitude. You gotta learn how to work through that. You can't get attitude and quit.
No.
Every job you have, you gotta stick. You gotta be able to persevere. Like for us, just tell our kids, I don't like it, I don't care, go to work.
learn how to handle situations.
Exactly.
This is all preparation for your adult life and your relationships to come in your children.
Exactly.
All the things you're going to face. You can't fold up and have a brat fit because somebody said something you didn't like. Hey, welcome to the real world.
Conflict resolution.
Yeah,
Learning how to communicate.
Yeah.
You got to have a conversation. You can't, everything can't be solved with violence.
No, or shutting down and going to the silent treatment and all that.
No, it don't work.
It's not going to work.
You got to work your way through those things. But that preparation starts in the home.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so imperative for us as parents, as we're going through it.
Yeah.
Like I say, we wasn't always, and we prepared for everything that came up.
No.
It was a lot of gaps, you know, in our understanding of what it meant to raise children and what it meant to, you know, be able to help grow and develop and shepherd them.
Right.
But the thing is once we found those gaps, now, like I said, we had to kind of learn those things on the fly.
And then too, you got to consider we can only have the principles because you don't know what type of child you're going to have.
Exactly.
So just learning to take care of yourself and put that in your children. You might have a crazy, you don't know.
But that's the key, though, like learning how to distill it to the place where you now can instill it in a way that they can be prepared for whatever it is they're going to face.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we take everything and it's just an application only. But every application is not the right application.
Right.
And there is an underlying principle that we need to understand, and that's what we have to work on trying to impart into our children.
Right.
So that whatever circumstance they find themselves in, they understand the principle and they can find the application without losing the principle.
Right.
But that's a part of that preparation, and that's a part of that harder work as you grow older, as you now become the teacher, the parent, or whatever, the adult. Now you got to dig a step further and go a little bit deeper than, you know, where you probably were in order for you to be prepared for your next level, your next stage.
Right.
And again, all that's preparation. Like I said, you talk about just maturing. That's preparation.
Yeah.
And God uses circumstances to help mature us, but it's also to prepare us.
That's right.
Because what you're in this moment, that might not necessarily be the be all end all.
Yeah.
That's just something that's preparing you for whatever that next big thing that you're going to be dealing with, or that you're going to be responsible for.
That's right.
He might want to take you into a place of abundance.
Yeah.
And trust and believe, is a preparation that's required of the heart and of the mind in order for you to be able to live in that place successfully without it really overcoming you or overtaking you. And people don't want to do that work.
That's it right there.
Know,
it keeps going back to that.
You got to do the work.
Yeah.
Like I say, we have an expectation. Oh, I want to be wealthy, or I want to have abundance. You be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, or run a big company, or you got to be prepared for the things that comes with that.
You have to be prepared, and there's a lot that comes with it, and a lot of that is not just on you; it's on your family as well. So when you talk about ministry, or you talk about, like you say, running a large business, or being, you know, leaders in industry, it takes a toll, and it can take a toll on you and your relationships if you didn't prepare. And sometimes, in case you get the wrong person, you can marry the person that they will never be a fit for where you're trying to go.
Yeah, they can make or break. It really can.
And you have to be aware of that, and you might have to adjust but that takes preparation as well.
Yeah.
Like, how do you now reside in this space where maybe it's not where exactly you want to go, but not have resentment?
True.
Not you know, have hatred in your heart. That's
the Bible says that, not to be bitter against your wives. Yeah. Okay. Because you never know, you get the wrong one, they may not have that extra push.
Ambition.
Yeah, that's it.
And again, it's not that they're the wrong one they might be the exact right person for you, the best person for you in your life. But now you have to learn how to temper and adjust, if you will.
Right.
And that comes with preparation. Like, you have to prepare your heart when you talk about marriage. As an example, we're going all over the place.
But that's all part of it, though.
You got to prepare yourself to be able to make those adjustments. It's not to say that you might find a person that they might be as ambitious as you are. But you have to prepare yourself for that.
Oh, that's true.
Because you got to understand, like, I can't be needy.
Yeah.
Because if I'm a needy person, it's going to be very difficult for you and for them, because they might not be the person that can give you that type of attention. If they're focused on their career and they expect you to be focused on your career as well, it's going to be challenging for y'all to be in each other's face all the time. You're so cute, because that's not going to happen.
Right. That's what you prepare for.
Exactly.
So that's something to think about when you choosing a spouse.
You got to know what you're asking for, and you prepare yourself accordingly. If you want somebody a certain way, then you should be preparing yourself for that.
That's right.
Men and women.
Yep.
And sometimes we think it's only the women, but men have to work on preparing themselves as well.
Right.
Because sometimes you say, I want an ambitious woman. It's like,
well,
you got to know how to handle and deal with an ambitious woman respectfully, because she might not be the type that hold her tongue. So you have to learn how to be able to hear, take criticism, be challenged. And if you're not the type that like that, then I would caution you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have some problems.
Indeed.
Or you might be the person that do want somebody that's more vocal, that likes to speak up and doesn't mind, giving their thoughts and opinions. And you get somebody that's quiet.
True.
How do we handle that? In either case, whether she's quiet or whether she's somebody that's outspoken and ambitious, the whole point of the matter is as the head of household, a husband, you have to learn how to lead. And you have to prepare yourself to be a leader in your home.
Right.
Whatever that may require, whether it may be being humble and listening and supportive, or whether it be taking the front seat and driving the household to a certain outcome.
Right.
And that's the preparation that a lot of times does not occur for young men. They're not being prepared to be a leader in their home.
Yeah.
At best, they're just prepared to be in the home, and they're like, success, I'm here. Well, that's part of it.
Yeah.
But the greater success is that you're able to take your family and be able to drive them to someplace.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, that preparation in the home, preparation with the different mentors and coaches that you may have in your life, whether it be in church or whether it be in work, wherever it may be, you need to build these skills.
Yeah.
And it requires you putting forth effort. It requires you being diligent. It requires you being intentional, in your development, so that you can be prepared for marriage, if you will.
Yeah. That's why I think it's so important that we do have good mentors, leaders, elders in churches, anywhere there where there's good, strong leaders and examples for the youth coming up behind us, because some do come from single family homes, so they're not seeing what it looks like.
True.
And so to be able to have someone in their lives that can say, this is how you do this is what it looks like, and just being that example, it speaks volumes to those that are wise and will listen, as Proverbs has so many scriptures about listening to the wise and how to handle this, how to handle that, and they see it in real action. It makes a difference.
True.
So, yeah.
And that's where it comes in. Like, we talk about that preparation. It helps. It really does.
Yeah.
A lot of things that you cannot always prepare for, but there's a lot of things that you can prepare for.
Sure.
And it can put you in a position where you can have a higher probability of success.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, it's not always guaranteed.
Yeah.
But you have a higher probability of success when you actually prepare. But so many people waste time.
Yes.
They waste resources that are available to them, and then they get to these moments, and unfortunately they do fail. They're not able to really meet the challenge, and therefore they are not able to reap the full benefit of what they're encountering or what they're experiencing in that moment.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like I said, I believe that God does have greater things in store for us, and He definitely, wants us to be in better positions and places. But we have not prepared ourselves.
Yeah.
He, puts us in these situations to help us prepare, but we take it as a slight and an offense, and we do the exact opposite. We mope, we cry, we mumble, we grumble, we complain.
Right.
When in fact, this was the very thing that was going to put you in a position to be ready for what I was about to give you.
Yes.
And now you're not ready, so now you got to go
all over.
back through it again, or you get there and you're not able to last because you just were not prepared. And I didn't think it was going, well, why didn't you? Why didn't you sit down and really count up the cost and really think this thing through? Why didn't you have a plan? Why didn't you have an expected end?
Yes.
Why didn't you exercise diligence
Mm-hmm.
and finding resources to be able to help educate you and make you aware
Yeah.
and knowledgeable about what's needed. Why didn't you take advantage of what was in front of you?
Right.
The opportunities for you to be able to demonstrate the things that you have been learning so that you can get better prepared.
Yeah.
Because ain't nobody going to go from 0 to 500. That's just
Right.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
People are looking and like, well, I would love to give you unless you Nepo. And again, in that case, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
it's like you're not setting me up for success. If
No.
anything, you're setting me up for failure as
Mhm.
well as everybody around me,
That's right.
because I'm not ready.
Right.
I'm not prepared. But if you've done the work, if
Mhm.
you've been wise, if you've been really
Mhm.
diligent in your
Mhm.
matters, if you had the plan and you've been executing it, then you're going to be
You
successful.
will.
It may not be in this moment. It may not be in this opportunity, but there's going to be an opportunity. There's
That's
going to be a
right.
time where, again, that time and chance is going to happen and you will find success.
You can just walk in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So true.
So when we talk about just, again, this preparation thing, one of the interesting stories that came to mind was specifically Noah.
Noah.
Yes. So when you look at Hebrews 11:7, it says, "By faith Noah, being warned of God of things to see not seen as yet,
Mhm.
moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith."
Hmm.
This is stories in Genesis 5, 6, and 7 talking
Mhm.
about Noah. And the thing is
Huh. Okay.
according to the Bible, it had not rained.
Okay.
Up
Yeah.
until the time of Noah, really, there was a mist that came up from the earth and the water of
Mhm.
the garden. So there was no rain, if you will.
Mm.
And here it is, God, as you know, if you know the story,
Yeah.
and again, if you don't, go back and read Genesis 6 and 7.
Okay.
God got angry with the people because of how they were, and the hearts of men was evil only continually. He said, I'm going to wipe out everybody, paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, and God told Noah, this is what I'm about to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to destroy everybody. What I need you to do is go and build this ark.
Wow.
This is how you're going to build the ark. This is what's needed in order to build the ark.
Mm-hmm.
Once you build the ark, what I want you to do is take you and your family, y'all go in there, get all the food that you need, but then also take all these animals 2 by 2, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and bring them in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about it. Noah was 500 years old when God told him
Whoa.
that he was going to send a flood.
Wow. 500?
He was 500 when God told him. He was 600 when it happened.
That don't even seem real.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
it took him 100 years.
it was 100-year span where Noah diligently worked on building this ark in order to save the people from an event that had not yet occurred.
Never even heard of rain.
And never even heard of.
You out here building something for 100 years. No.
Exactly.
Wow.
To save his family, but also
Wow.
to save all the animals and everything. And that's why I say it was by faith.
Mm-hmm.
Noah being warned of God of things not seen as yet,
Wow.
moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house. Now, when I start thinking about this, when you start talking about this preparation,
Mm-hmm.
this is like the ultimate preparation.
Yeah.
Where, like I say, something that never really occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knows about it.
Yeah.
Never seen it before ever. Here it is. God speaks to you and tell you, I'm going to do this thing. I want you to build this ark, if you will, and I'll get back to you and let you know when I'm about to actually do it. But for now, just start
Wow.
building.
Wow.
And it was 100-year span where he was building this ark. And then eventually the Lord came back and told him, in 7 days, it's finna rain.
Wow.
And he had to go and gather all the animals and everything, get him in the ark, get his family in the ark, close the door. And then in 7 days it rained.
Well, good thing he prepared.
Good thing he prepared.
Could you imagine in 7 days he ain't did nothing? Ain't
7
cut no-
days.
Could you
100
imagine?
years.
No, I'm saying imagine if he hadn't and tried
Yeah.
to build an ark in 7 days.
He wasn't going to be able to do it.
There is no way.
And that's why we got to look when you talk about preparation. There's some things that you cannot do in 7 days.
And the thing was, God gave him a word.
God gave him a word.
Told
He also
him.
gave him instruction. He told him what was going to happen, but he also told him how to avoid it as well.
Wow.
And Noah, because he believed God,
Yeah.
he moved with fear and prepared.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Yes.
And a lot of times God gives us
Come
a
through.
word,
Mm.
and then he gives us instruction.
Mm.
And because we don't believe, we don't prepare. And then when it happens, or when we get there,
Time and chance.
and that's where we fail because we're not prepared. And then we try to run we ain't Lot, or it was not Lot, but Jonah.
Yeah.
Try to do a
3-day
10-day journey in 3 days. You can't. Everything is not you can't do everything like that. Everything doesn't happen that way. Some things it requires every last ounce of time that you're given to prepare. It's needed.
So not be addicted to, I need a miracle. I need
Exactly.
a miracle. I need a miracle. I need a miracle.
Well,
all
that
the time.
was the miracle. The miracle was that God spoke to you and God told you what he was going to do, and he gave you instruction.
But we think miracles is that supernatural in the moment right now.
Exactly, but that's not always the miracle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that's where, like I said, we get all. If God gave you a word, he gave you.
That's okay.
He told you what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
He gave you instruction on how to either to prepare yourself for it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that preparation is. He said, "This is what you need to do. Here's the plan I've laid out for you.
Gotcha.
Do this plan."
Okay.
And
that's your okay.
And then you don't do it. Then because God taking too long, or he ain't do it when he ain't do it when I thought he was going to do it. But because Noah moved with fear, he prepared the ark. However long it took, he did the work. He did the preparation because he believed what God said. Let's just get down to the nitty gritty of it. A lot of times we don't prepare because we don't believe what God said.
Bottom line. Bottom line.
So because we don't believe,
no faith,
we don't prepare.
Until it's like right upon. Oh, I guess.
Well, that ain't faith anymore because now you see
it. Oh, wow. So we gambling. That's gambling with your future, your time, because you're thinking like, oh, kind of like your gifts and talents. Like, I don't have to do. I already. Oh, that's not good.
No, but it happens all the time because it's easier. It's
wow.
Preparation is not always easy.
No,
you talk about professional athletes. They train a lot like a boxer. How much training does he do for a 20-minute match?
Wow.
How much training does these professionals do for like a 5-minute performance?
Yep. Prior planning prevents poor performance.
But that planning and that preparation, it takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. It can be tiring. It can be frustrating, because you're trying to perfect that craft so that when you get to that moment where you have to perform, you're ready.
Huh.
But because we don't want to put that effort in the front end, we try to muster up if you ain't got no kind of good habit of being diligent, you ain't gonna get here and all of a sudden just become diligent. If you was lazy back here, you're gonna be lazy up here.
It's gonna show.
It's always gonna show.
That's so true.
But that's why, again, when you talk about that preparation, like say the thing I was thinking about out of this, first of all, you have to have an awareness of the times or understand the circumstances that you're in and that you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what was going on. God made him aware.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we are. This is what I'm about to do because of where we are.
Yeah.
Then God gave him instruction. So when you talk about preparation, got to have some instruction. Got to kind of know where you're going. What are you trying to accomplish? What are you building towards?
Mm-hmm.
That helps you. He had also a promise. It wasn't just that he was told to go do this stuff, but the promise was he was going to save his family and also living, breathing creatures. So there was promise behind that preparation and that planning as well. A lot of times we don't want to do it because we don't feel like there's a promise.
Right.
There's nothing behind it.
Yeah.
What else? If I do all of this, then what? And so you faint or you quit because you can't see this promise coming to fruition. So again, you got to have that promise, and then out of all of that, you got to still have faith, which leads to obedience. He did what God told him to do. He built.
Wow.
He said, build an ark. He built the ark. He told him, go get the animal. He went and got the animal. He said, get food. He got food. He did what he was instructed to do.
Wow.
Demonstrating his faith.
Wow.
So,
wow.
If we take this another way before we end this,
gosh.
that's the same way it is with salvation.
Yes.
Jesus prepared the way.
Yes.
He already told us what's going to happen.
He did.
He gave us clear instructions on this world is not forever. This is a temporal situation. Eventually, I am going to come again. I'm going to receive you all to myself. He said,
I go to prepare.
He said, I go to prepare a place that where I am, you may be there also. So he already put it out there like, hey, don't get too caught up here. Just like Noah, I look at the circumstances of what's going on. This is going to end. I'm going to end it. This is how you prepare for it.
Yeah.
I have a plan for you. I have the gospel message.
Come through with it now.
I've given you a way. John came preaching, and preparing the way for the Lord, making the pathway straight. But he started with repentance, so that the people's hearts could be prepared for what Jesus was going to bring.
Right.
And he prepared their hearts. When Jesus came on the scene, it was nothing for them because they knew about repentance. They knew about baptism. But then he said, okay, now you must be baptized in my name for the remission of sins that are past. And then he said, you must be filled with my spirit. Because he said, look, I'm not going to be here forever. He said, I'm going to leave you, but I'm not going to leave you comfortless.
That's right. I'm going to come again.
I'm going to come again. I'm going to make my abode with you. So again, he made all these preparations and all these plans for you to be prepared so that you can escape the wrath that is to come.
He said, I'll come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also.
That's the promise.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm going to save you. Just like Noah, I'm going to save your life.
I love it.
And it's up to us whether we do like Noah, have faith and believe and follow the plan. That's the preparation. I give you a plan. Execute the plan. What is the plan? It is the plan of salvation. It is repentance. It is being baptized in Jesus' name for the remission of sins that are past. It is being filled with his spirit. It is walking in newness of life, walking after the spirit so that I will not fulfill the lust of the flesh, learning how to be full of good works, learning how to be spirit-led, learning how to live according to the will of God. That's the obedience that has to come in our lives if we expect to be able to be prepared to escape the wrath.
So now you're ready because you prepared.
Yes, so you don't have to get ready. You just stay ready so that whenever the time comes, whether it be by a grave or whether it be through the rapture, you're prepared. And that's why preparation is so important. That's why when you talk about preparation, belief is so important. If you don't believe it, then you're not going to prepare.
That's why people fail. So they start off and they drop off.
Because they stop believing. But look, if Noah could do it for 100 years.
And I'm sure God wasn't talking to him every day.
No, but 100 years
crazy.
of building for an event that had never occurred. But because he believed God, and that's why he had became an heir of the righteousness, which is by faith. We always talk about by faith, group. This is the faith. This is the grace, the grace of God. This salvation that he presented to us is the gospel. That's the grace. That's the unmerited favor. That is the gift of God. He loved us so much that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever should believe in him will not perish, but have everlasting life.
Amen.
All of this was done in order for us to have an opportunity to prepare to escape the wrath to come. Just like Noah. But we ain't got to do it for no 100 years. Our life expectancy ain't even that long. Let's just be honest. And then even in the time of preparation, as you're preparing, you have so many wonderful benefits that come just through preparing your heart to seek the Lord, preparing your ways to be able to follow the will of the Lord. He directs our paths. He said, I would that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So if you prepare your heart for God, you're going to prosper. Because all those things we were talking about that you're supposed to be getting, those principles that you're supposed to be developing in you as a child, that's all a part of his righteousness. Learning how to be diligent, learning not to be covetous, learning to be temperate in all things, learning how to have the right attitude in every situation, learning how to, communicate.
Be responsible.
Being responsible, being accountable. All these things are things that, he puts in us and he wants us to have, because these are the things that will give us life. This is what allows us to be prepared. So that we be prepared for all things pertaining to life and godliness.
Man, it's so true. Oh, that's good stuff.
So preparation is key.
Preparation helps.
It sure helps. Boy, it helps.
Ooh-wee.
So as you begin to think, as you go through 2025 and whatever the next year may be, just think about it. Am I preparing myself for this life, but also for the life to come?
That's right.
Let's say we waste is probably a better way to say. We waste so much time because we don't have a vision for what the future will be for ourselves.
That's right.
We don't have a dream for what's next or what could be. And even when we hear it, we don't believe it.
Right.
So therefore, we fail to prepare. And then when we get the outcome of what's failure, because we failed to prepare, we fail.
That's right.
Then we get upset and say, well, next time, think about that thing.
Yeah. Consider.
Go be introspective. Consider the matter. Pray the Lord give you an understanding that had I used the time that I had wisely, had I been preparing, would have had the same outcome.
Right.
And then now, Lord, since you're so gracious and merciful and kind, you've given me time to prepare. Let me now prepare so that I can have a better expected end.
Well, that's our time. Thank you so much for listening. We hope this episode has further enriched your perspective.
Until next time, I'm Mike.
And I'm Talisha.
God bless.